All right, here we go. I have the honor to bring you hip hop's first MC, the legendary Coke LaRock. Welcome to Vlad TV.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, thank you, number one, for really being one of the blueprints of hip hop and this culture that has spread worldwide, that has allowed me and my 15 employees to support ourselves. The little piece of the big picture. But personally, I know hip hop has changed my life and the people around me. So thank you so much for helping to originate this art form.
Thank you.
Well, this is our first time sitting down, so I want to get into your whole story. So you were born in the Bronx.
Yeah.
Okay. So what was the Bronx like in the 60s?
I mean, it was a lot of gangs in between. It was a lot of people just coming back and forth from Vietnam, and it was a lot of drugs in a sense of, heroin at that time, and the Bronx was semi-burning to a degree.
Okay, and you've seen the old footage, with like the burnt out buildings and the rubble everywhere. Why exactly was the Bronx burning during that time?
Well, personally, it was due to the landlords. That's what happened. It's the same way like with the clubs. If the club wasn't making no money, they set it on fire, get the insurance. So then again, the buildings was the same way. A lot of landlords, I guess, wasn't getting money the right way or whatever. And they just tortured, and then to me, it was more on the east side than the west side. I came from the West Bronx. Now the east side and the South Bronx is where you had most of the burning buildings and stuff like that, I guess due to the era of poverty, because on the west side, a lot of people kind of worked a little more, not to say people didn't work on the other side of town.
Okay, so you're growing up in this environment, and you said at the time heroin was really the main drug out there. This was before crack and cocaine became popularized. How bad was the drug addiction in the area at the time?
It was hidden because in that era, like it wasn't as popular where you knew, like if guys was messing around. Like I first noticed that in the 6th grade, to be truthful. Classmates, was sniffing heroin. They wasn't shooting it through the needle. And that kind of shocked me. Me, myself, I didn't do no kind of drugs. So therefore, even noticing it, or you got to be around somebody. And then as I was with people, I realized that they was on it because I had a hate thing in a manner of I wasn't messing with nobody that was messing with drugs. Because I ran track since the 3rd grade. So I had a coach that always kind of influenced me, like, don't use no kind of drugs. And my mother was a single parent. My mother was more like, you better be a man of your own. Don't be no follower. And that structure there made it. And, wasn't nobody making me do nothing. I know I'm a guy, 5'11", thick glasses, but, I run fast, hit hard, so I was able to survive because you couldn't make me do nothing. Growing up back then, you idled the people that was so-called on your block, you might have seen the number man. The numbers was pretty big then, especially back then.
So you talked about the gang situation, and there was a story you told about how you were in a classroom and a gang literally burst into the classroom and grabbed someone out that they were fighting with?
Yeah. I was in algebra class. We had 2 hours of that. Anyway, one of the guys in the classroom had smacked one of the gang members outside before we came into school. And like I said, we was in the class, then all of a sudden they kicked the door open. About 20 of them came in, a couple of them had shotguns. They just went, grabbed the guy, dragged him out of the class. The teachers never turned around. Nobody never made a move or nothing. And they dragged him outside. Then when we get outside, when school was over, they let the school out and it was over like 150 gang members on the other side of the street. So therefore, everybody tried to get home or get to where they got to go the best way they can. At that time, I used to take the train, I had to go to 149th Street and catch the 2 to the 4. And me and a friend that lived in the neighborhood, we on the train track, we on the platform, and we waiting. All of a sudden, you see people running down the steps, screaming and hollering. The gang members are just beating any and everybody. So he's like, what we gonna do? So I'm like, come on, man, let's jump on the track and run to 149th, to the next station, because if we stay here, we just gonna get beat to death like everybody else. And we ran to the other train station, which got us out of that, you know?